In the serene and sprawling Giantess realm, Alara and Serena were legendary not just for their towering presence but for their bond of unshakable friendship. Their laughter, which could ripple across valleys, and their shared love for life had made them inseparable since their childhood. Both women were graceful, intelligent, and above all, kind-hearted. Their human boyfriends, Ethan and Jacob, were an integral part of their lives. Though much smaller, the men were adventurous and full of wit, balancing the Giantess's personalities perfectly. Ethan was Alara's thoughtful and meticulous partner, always finding small ways to show his love. Jacob, on the other hand, was the humorous and bold counterpart to Serena, always bringing laughter into her life. The four often spent their evenings together, enjoying simple pleasures, games, stories, and the occasional unique bonding activity. Among these, a rather unusual ritual stood out: stomach massages. Both Alara and Serena, after long days managing their work as protectors of the land, found immense comfort in having their boyfriends descend into their stomachs to knead away stress. The boyfriends, finding humor and satisfaction in their role, were happy to oblige. One evening, as they lounged in Alara's colossal living room, an open space adorned with furniture carved from mountains and intricate tapestries woven by master craftsmen, the conversation turned to their beloved massages. "Ethan gives the best massages," Alara said, leaning back on her enormous couch with a satisfied sigh. "His hands are so precise. He finds all the right spots." Serena raised an eyebrow, smirking. "Oh please. Jacob has perfected the art. He doesn't just massage, he soothes. You wouldn't believe how good he is until you've experienced it." Ethan and Jacob exchanged amused glances, each sipping from thimble-sized cups of tea that the Giantesses had thoughtfully prepared for them. "I don't know," Ethan said with a playful shrug. "Maybe we should prove who's better?" Jacob grinned. "Exactly what I was thinking. Let's settle this debate." Alara and Serena sat up, their eyes lighting with mischievous excitement. "We'll swap boyfriends for one massage," Serena proposed. "Each of us will judge fairly. And whoever loses," Ethan added, "buys the next round of drinks when we're out." The idea was met with unanimous laughter and agreement. Alara leaned forward with a playful smile, her emerald eyes glinting in the soft light of the room. "All right, Jacob. Let's see if you've got what it takes to top Ethan." Jacob smirked, brushing his hands together. "Ready when you are." With that, Alara opened her mouth wide, revealing the soft, glistening interior. Her tongue was a warm pink, shimmering faintly in the ambient light. Jacob climbed onto her tongue with practiced ease, his hands sinking slightly into its plush, velvety surface. The faint scent of her herbal tea lingered in the air, mingled with her natural scent, pleasant, slightly sweet, and comforting. As he made his way toward the back of her mouth, he couldn't help but admire the sheer scale of everything. Her teeth were smooth and shining like polished marble, and the roof of her mouth arched above him like a grand cathedral. The walls of her mouth glistened with a fine layer of moisture, catching the light in subtle reflections. "Comfortable in there, Jacob?" Alara teased, her voice reverberating through the space like soft thunder. Jacob grinned and gave her tongue a playful pat. "I've had worse rides. Let's go." Alara giggled, sending a subtle vibration through her tongue, and then tilted her head back slightly. Jacob braced himself as the tongue beneath him shifted, gently guiding him toward the entrance of her throat. He glanced back one last time at the light streaming in from her open mouth before sliding into the warm, enveloping darkness of her windpipe. The passage into her throat was an experience unlike any other. The walls of her windpipe were soft, smooth, and pulsating gently in a rhythmic pattern that matched the steady thrum of her heartbeat. The air was warm and slightly humid, carrying faint hints of honey and berries from her earlier snack. Jacob felt the gentle contractions of the walls around him, cradling him as he descended. The sensation was oddly soothing, as though the walls were both guiding and supporting him on his journey. The faint sound of Alara's breathing filled the space, a steady whooshing that seemed to harmonize with the distant, muffled rhythm of her heartbeat. Light was scarce, but occasional flashes of bioluminescence from the enzymes lining her throat provided brief, dim glimmers, illuminating his surroundings in faint, ethereal hues of gold and pink. As he descended deeper, the light grew dimmer, replaced by the comforting glow emanating from within her stomach below. The air pressure shifted subtly the closer he got, and Jacob felt a gentle warmth radiating upward from her stomach. He could hear the soft gurgling of digestion growing louder, not in a threatening way, but like a gentle symphony of life within her. It was a reminder of her immense vitality and the complexity of her body. Finally, Jacob reached the entrance to Alara's stomach, a softly pulsing sphincter that opened smoothly to allow him passage. He slid through effortlessly, landing on the cushioned surface within her stomach. The chamber was vast, like an underground grotto. The walls glistened with moisture, undulating gently in sync with her breathing. They were softly illuminated by bioluminescent enzymes, casting a warm golden glow across the entire space. The light played off the slightly translucent walls, creating a mesmerizing effect as though he were surrounded by living, breathing stained glass. The air inside was warm and humid, with a sweet, tangy aroma lingering from her earlier meal. The floor was soft and pliable beneath his feet, springy yet firm enough to provide solid footing. Small rivulets of digestive fluids trickled harmlessly along the edges of the chamber, shimmering like liquid gold. Jacob took a moment to absorb his surroundings. The faint sounds of digestion, a soft gurgling and rhythmic churn, were soothing, like the gentle lapping of waves on a shore. Above him, he could faintly hear the distant echo of Alara's voice as she spoke to Serena. "Well," Jacob muttered to himself with a grin, "this is definitely one for the books." Jacob took a deep breath, letting the warm air fill his lungs, and then began his task. He placed his hands on the nearest section of the stomach wall, feeling the soft yet firm surface yield slightly under his touch. The walls pulsed gently beneath his fingers, alive with warmth and vitality. He started with slow, deliberate presses, using his palms to knead the tension out of the walls. He moved methodically, pressing and rolling his hands across the surface, paying attention to the subtle shifts and responses from the walls. "Not bad," Jacob called out, his voice bouncing faintly off the walls of the chamber. "How's that, Alara?" From above, her voice came, soft and relaxed. "That's wonderful, Jacob. Keep going." Encouraged, Jacob continued, finding his rhythm. He used his thumbs for deeper pressure, working into areas that felt tighter, and alternated with broader strokes using his palms. The faint glow of the stomach walls illuminated his progress, creating a surreal but strangely comforting atmosphere. As he worked, Jacob couldn't help but marvel at the unique intimacy of the experience. It wasn't just a task, it was a connection, a way to bring comfort and care to someone he cared about deeply. Serena crouched down with a playful glint in her azure eyes, her expression both teasing and affectionate. "Your turn, Ethan. Let's see if Alara's been exaggerating your skills." Ethan smirked, adjusting his sleeves dramatically. "You're in for a treat, Serena. Let's get started." Serena tilted her head back and opened her mouth wide, revealing the soft, pink cavern inside. Ethan climbed onto her tongue, the surface warm and slick beneath his boots. Her breath, lightly tinged with the floral scent of her lavender tea, enveloped him as he stepped carefully toward the back of her mouth. "Comfy in there?" Serena's voice, though muffled, rumbled playfully around him. Like a five-star spa, Ethan called back, grinning. As Serena gave a gentle swallow, the muscles at the back of her throat pulled him smoothly into her windpipe. The transition was seamless, the walls of her throat enveloping him in a snug but gentle embrace. The descent into Serena's windpipe was like entering a living, breathing tunnel. The walls were soft and glistening, pulsating gently with the rhythm of her breathing. Ethan felt the warmth of her body radiating through the moist, humid air, which carried faint traces of lavender and honey. As he moved deeper, the contractions of her throat walls created a wave-like motion that guided him downward, like a gentle conveyor belt. The sensation was both soothing and surreal, as though the body itself was ensuring his safe passage. Faint bioluminescent enzymes along the walls emitted a soft, silvery blue glow, lighting his way through the darkness. The glow shifted slightly with each pulse of Serena's heartbeat, creating a mesmerizing, almost hypnotic effect. Ethan reached out and ran his hand along the walls as he descended, feeling their smooth, velvety texture. The gentle vibrations of her laughter occasionally rippled through the space, adding an odd but comforting sensation to his journey. The soundscape was a symphony of life, her deep, rhythmic breathing, the faint, distant gurgling of her stomach below, and the subtle, steady thrum of her heartbeat. It was both awe-inspiring and oddly tranquil. After what felt like a meditative journey, Ethan arrived at the entrance to Serena's stomach. The sphincter at the end of her esophagus opened smoothly to let him through, its movements precise and unhurried. He landed lightly on the soft, pliable floor of her stomach, immediately noticing the vastness of the chamber. The walls glowed faintly with a silvery blue light, the same bioluminescent enzymes creating a serene, dreamlike atmosphere. The undulating walls pulsed gently, alive with the rhythms of her body, and the soft gurgles of digestion formed a calming backdrop. The air inside was warm and carried a pleasant citrusy aroma, likely remnants of the orange slices Serena had snacked on earlier. The floor beneath him was soft yet springy, like a living cushion, and small rivulets of digestive fluids trickled harmlessly along the edges of the chamber, shimmering like liquid crystal. Ethan took a deep breath, allowing himself a moment to admire the environment. "Serena, your stomach's a work of art," he called out, his voice echoing faintly in the cavernous space. Above, her voice responded, relaxed and slightly amused. "Flatterer. Now, let's see if those hands of yours live up to the hype." Ethan got to work immediately, placing his hands against the nearest section of the stomach wall. The surface was warm and slightly yielding, responding to his touch in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. He began with broad, sweeping motions, using his palms to press firmly and methodically against the walls. He adjusted his pressure based on the subtle feedback from the walls, working to relieve any tension he could feel. Ethan's movements were smooth and fluid, almost like a dance, as he moved from one section to the next. To add variation, he used his thumbs to target smaller areas, applying focused pressure to knots he could sense in the pliable tissue. Occasionally, he alternated techniques, using his fists for deeper kneading motions. Serena's voice, soft and relaxed, echoed faintly above him. "Ethan, that's amazing. You're a natural." Encouraged by her response, Ethan continued, using his sense of touch to guide him. He shifted to circular motions, pressing and rotating his palms to maximize the relief he was providing. The gentle glow of the stomach walls illuminated his progress, casting his silhouette in soft hues as he worked. As he moved around, Ethan occasionally paused to stretch his arms, smiling to himself. "This might just be my masterpiece," he joked. After thoroughly massaging every section of the stomach wall, Ethan stepped back and admired his work, though the chamber itself gave no visible indication of his efforts. The faint rhythmic churning had grown noticeably softer, and the walls seemed to pulse more evenly, as though Serena's body were expressing its gratitude. With his task complete, Ethan turned toward the nearest exit, Serena's belly button. Climbing toward it was easier than expected, as the soft, undulating walls seemed to assist him subtly, contracting in a way that guided him upward. When he finally emerged, he gave the sensitive skin of her belly button a playful tickle, earning a burst of laughter from Serena that made her stomach quiver. "You've outdone yourself," she said, her voice filled with warmth and appreciation. Ethan grinned, brushing himself off. "I aim to please." Both giantesses leaned back, their eyes closed in bliss as their boyfriends worked their magic. The massages were intense but soothing, with each man showcasing his unique approach. Jacob's hands moved with precise, almost surgical efficiency, while Ethan's movements were more fluid and intuitive, like an artist painting a masterpiece. When the massages concluded, the boyfriends climbed toward the nearest exits, their temporary partners' belly buttons. Pushing through the soft skin, they emerged with playful tickles that sent both giantesses into fits of laughter. Serena wiped a tear of laughter from her eye. "Okay, I admit it. Jacob's amazing." Alara chuckled, holding her stomach. "Ethan's incredible too. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're both lucky to have them." The boyfriends exchanged grins and high fives. "Looks like it's a draw," Jacob said. With the playful debate settled, the boyfriends returned to their respective giantesses, descending once more into the warm, familiar embrace of their windpipes. Nestling into the soft, velvety chambers of their girlfriends' stomachs, they felt the rhythmic thrum of their heartbeats and the soothing churn of digestion. The giantesses leaned back on the couch, their hands resting lightly over their bellies. "We're so lucky," Alara murmured. Serena nodded, her lips curling into a smile. "We really are." As the night deepened, the four drifted into peaceful slumber, comforted by the warmth of love, laughter, and the joy of sharing their unique lives together.